I'm an assistant attorney general with the Illinois Attorney General's office. I work in the Special Litigation Bureau, which is in the Public Interest Division of the office. We primarily do plaintiff side investigations and litigation, occasionally legislative or policy work as well, but primarily investigations and litigation related to high priority or sensitive issues in which the office seeks a broad lasting impact. My caseload includes, for example, environmental protection, healthcare fraud, fraud against the state, fraud by charitable organizations, a little employment discrimination, so it sort of like runs the gamut. To me, instinctively, it means that it improves quality of life or improves the experience of individuals in society in a certain way. I went to law school for public interest. My parents are immigrants, and it was very easy for me to imagine while I was working with immigrants that, you know, except for a twist of fate, I could be in a much less fortunate position. I credit a lot the faculty and the advisors who are focused on public interest. Cindy Wilson was one of the advisors I relied on the most while I was at Northwestern, and I also took the public interest practicum with her. And our discussions in that class gave me perspective on what public interest law looked like and what thinking was in public interest law, how it works in the real world, what are sort of the challenges and what are the rewards of it. And actually, her in particular, I credit a lot for helping me think through and process my experiences as I was interning with different organizations and what sort of direction I wanted to take my career. I think the more opportunities that law students can take advantage of that put them into practical situations. I took trial advocacy and then advanced trial advocacy, and those were invaluable, and I'm very, very glad I took them. In addition, I would highly recommend taking clinics so you see what it actually looks like. Candidly, you're not going to get the greatest satisfaction out of the level of income, and you have to find something fulfilling about the work, or have something that is fulfilling about the work that stems from the issues you're working on, the people you're working with, the result that you know you're fighting for, or some other sort of source that will give you the drive to come to work and to really put your best effort into everything.
I'm Renee Rodney. I graduated from Northwestern in 2004, and I currently work as an assistant United States attorney here in Chicago. Voices International is obviously dear to my heart. We're focused on a core group of girls, and these are girls from communities where there aren't a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of socioeconomic issues, a lot of issues of violence that these girls face on a daily basis. But to see them to be able to progress and overcome those challenges and be headed towards college where that may not have been an option for them, just looking back a few years ago, I'm really proud that we've been able to have an impact, and that work with Voices also inspires me. I think a lot of people may not realize, if they haven't come into contact with the criminal justice system in any way, that there are victims to these crimes. And I think that's an important part of the work that I do. So we're definitely prosecuting crimes, trying to lessen the impact of criminal activity, whether it's drugs, fraud, bank robberies, other crimes of violence in the community. but making sure that the victims who have been harmed by those crimes get to have their voice heard and make sure that justice is served. My first summer at Northwestern, working in public interest, had a direct connection to the work that I ended up doing after I graduated, and it really laid the groundwork. And if I could just follow up with that, I mean, the professors at Northwestern and the clinic opportunities actually connected that summer experience from BPI to my ultimate experience after I graduated. Between the professors and the courses and the summer opportunities, I thought that Northwestern was very supportive of my desire to want to work into public interest, and the resources at the school and the professors had the connections that I needed to be able to make my way into that field. I think I've been fortunate with the opportunities that I've been given. As I alluded to earlier, literally one opportunity led to the next, which led to the job that I had after law school, and from there just unfolded into leading me into where I am today. And it's not something that I predicted. It was something that I was prepared for, and I was prepared for it through the opportunities that I had at Northwestern. I mean, I can't say it any better way. I mean, through the clinics, through the professors, I mean, the stars are really aligned in my favor, and I'm just grateful that I was in the right place at the right time. And I think that, I mean, it did involve taking a bit of risk and not going with the most popular or lucrative opportunity, but in the long run, I think the path that I've taken has opened so many doors, in that whatever I'm looking to do after the U.S. Attorney's Office, I'm in a good position to do that. And it really all started with the opportunities that I had at Northwestern. So I'm satisfied, and I'm happy that I took the course that I did.
My name is Elizabeth Rosenthal. Everyone calls me Lizzie. I'm a 2005 graduate of the Northwestern University School of Law. I have been at the Legal Assistance Foundation for the last 5 years, and since the end of January, I am the staff attorney on the Housing Law Project at the Legal Assistance Foundation. So I came to law school knowing that I was interested in pursuing a career in public interest law. And then I worked for my first summer. I actually had a SFPIF grant, and I worked for the summer at Cabrini Ring Legal Aid, working exclusively on housing issues. So I really learned a lot about affordable housing and subsidized housing in Chicago, and got to do a lot of great work that summer. So much of what I know now and what I do now, and part of the reason I have this position now, is based out of work I did that summer. I had a client a couple of years ago, but I'm actually still in touch with her. She lived in public housing with her grandmother and her younger sister, and she was, I think, about 19 when she came to see me. Her grandmother, who had raised her and her sister, had passed away after an illness, after a kind of sudden illness, so it was pretty traumatic. My client was about 19, as I said, and her younger sister was 13, I believe 13, and she was left alone to take care of her younger sister, and she wanted to take over her grandmother's lease in public housing. And CHA said initially that she couldn't, because she was listed on her grandmother's lease as a foster child, that both she and her sister were listed on her grandmother's lease as a foster children. And in fact, they had originally been foster children when her grandmother first took them in, but at a certain point her grandmother had in fact adopted them, and her grandmother had provided that information to the property manager at the development where my client lived, but the property manager never sent that information over to CHA for processing to have them put on the lease as household members. And under the CHA rules, foster children cannot take over a lease. Only people who are on the lease as household members can take over the lease, family members. So we had all the proof that the children had been adopted. We had that. I went and got that paperwork from the court, in fact, to show that the grandmother had in fact adopted both girls. And it was a long, drawn-out battle proving that the property manager hadn't done what she was supposed to do at the time. But finally, after some protracted litigation, we were able to get them to concede that my client and her younger sister should be able to assume their grandmother's lease. Most 19-year-olds are not fully equipped to deal with situations like this, and she really grew up a lot and stepped up, and I feel like I was both able to help her and empower her to help herself in the future, and that felt really great. I think there's a bias that impact work or policy work is the be-all end-all of a career in public interest, and I'm still trying to figure that out for myself. But I think if you are going to be doing policy work, that having the experience of being a direct advocate, working with clients directly, is a very important first step toward that. I'm working hard on my cases because I've decided that that's what I need to do for my clients. And I love that I feel good about what I do when I go home at the end of the day. And it's nice to know that when I'm working that hard, that I'm getting that kind of job satisfaction out of it. SFPIF gave me the opportunity to work for the summer at Cabrini-Green Legal Aid, and the skills I learned there that summer are what are skills that I use today, and that's completely invaluable. So thank you, SFPIF, for providing that opportunity to me, and thank you for honoring me today for the work that you've helped me to do.